How to effectively manage and prioritize your time and schedule while in porn addiction recovery. I think it would be safe to say that if you're struggling with a compulsive addiction to porn and or masturbation, that you are struggling to properly manage your time, despite how successful you are in certain areas of your life. There are times within your life that you choose to use your time ineffectively. You choose to use your time for things that aren't moving your life forward. So we're going to change this about ourselves. If we're going to transcend and break free from this addiction, learning to effectively manage our time through recovery, but learning to properly schedule, prioritize, and manage our time throughout our entire day is going to be a priority. And it must be something that we are intentional about doing. Now, one of the things that we see hold men back once they join our program from actually breaking free is the inability to execute on the tasks that are necessary to produce freedom within their life. So many of the guys say they want to quit porn, but when it comes down to the tactics and actually doing the things that are required to be free, they struggle to do these things. Just like so many men say they want to get in shape, say they want to build six-pack abs, say they want to increase their earning potential. Yet when you look at their days, when you look at how they are using their time, they aren't doing the things to get in shape. They aren't doing the things to create six-pack abs. They aren't doing the things to increase their earning potential. So in today's episode of The Rebuilt Man, I want to share with you 3 principles for effective time management while in porn addiction recovery. 3 principles that should be at the foundation of how you schedule, manage, and prioritize your days. Before I get too deep into that, guys, we'll take a quick moment and thank you for joining us here at the Rebuilt Man podcast. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. 62% of the people that view these videos on a regular basis are not subscribers to the channel. So if you want to make sure you never miss an upcoming video, hit that subscribe button, turn those post notifications on. And if you're tuning in on the audio side, please, guys, take a moment after today's episode, leave us a 5-star rating and written review, and make sure to share these episodes with as many people as possible. The 3 principles for effective time management, though, that I believe that if you place these as the highest priority in how you set up, schedule, and take action on your day, your recovery, and what is necessary, in time you will break this addiction. In time, you will become a porn-free man, and in time you will begin to live the life that God has called you to live. When it comes to your recovery, though, when it comes to prioritizing getting free from pornography, the first principle that you must be intentional about is that tomorrow begins today. Tomorrow begins tonight, guys. What you are going to do tomorrow needs to be effectively thought out, laid out, planned out tonight before you go to bed so that when you wake up, you can begin to tackle the day. And this starts with being intentional about how we even shut down our days. Without having polled any of you, I can tell you that the vast majority of you listening or watching this right now struggle with porn late at night. You struggle when you should be sleeping, yet you're laying in your bed scrolling social media. You struggle when you should be getting ready for tomorrow, but you're mindlessly scrolling. If you took the approach of tomorrow begins tonight and started to plan your evenings to set you up for success the next day, you wouldn't find yourself mindlessly scrolling. Now, there's a couple of key factors that I think we should prioritize when it comes to planning our evening. First off is establish your bedtime based upon the time that you must wake up. If you know that you to function properly at a high level requires 7 hours of sleep and you have to be up at 6 a.m., that means that you need to be falling asleep by 11 p.m. In order to fall asleep by 11 p.m., maybe it takes you 30 minutes once you lie in bed to actually fall asleep. That means you need to be laying down, getting ready to sleep by 10:30. If you know you have journaling, if you know you have cleanup, if you know you have other things, taking care of the kids, putting the kids to bed, reading stories, whatever it is, start to be very intentional through a reverse engineering process based upon the time that you have to wake up. From there, about 1 hour prior to your bedtime, all phones, all electronics off. Try to dim the lights as much as possible. Use candles if necessary. Your evening routine should include your daily reflection journaling, should include setting up for tomorrow's success. It should include reading, staying off of social media, having conversations with your wife, and conversations with your children. Connect. The first principle here, though, is that tomorrow begins tonight. Principle number 2 is combining both a digital planner / calendar with a daily planner. Now, I recommend, and we recommend to all the guys inside of our program, using what's called the Phoenix Journal. I'll link it down there in the show notes below. It is the perfect blueprint for quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily planning. In my opinion, it's got places right there for your evening reflection journaling. It's got places for your gratitude. It's got places for every hour throughout the day. But how many times have you gotten to the end of the day and realized, I forgot to do this thing? Or how many times have you told yourself the night before, I'm going to get this done tomorrow? And then when you reflect back upon the day, it never got done because it wasn't written down, wasn't linked up to your devices. Now, it's great to have digital calendars, reminders, all that stuff. But I think if you took some time every single morning, taking what your day is on the calendar and putting it down into your day planner, now you have a to-do list. And sometimes it's just the crossing off of those to-do lists every single day that gives you the reward of the task being accomplished. So once we've established that tomorrow begins tonight, we're then going to begin to use a digital and a day planner. And number 3 principle here, specifically while in recovery, is that your recovery work must be looked at as a form of self-care, and it must come first. Here's what I mean is, right now, if you're struggling and you're listening to this podcast, you're watching us on YouTube, you are here because something in your life is broken. And that's why you're struggling with the addiction. So trying to add recovery work on top of what you're currently already doing is equivalent to going to the gym and continuing to eat junk food and expecting a fat loss result. In order to create a new life, you must change things about your life that you're currently doing. And that's why prioritizing recovery work as self-care, placing it at the top of your importance hierarchy, placing it first, will begin to stack the rest of your day with what is most important. You know, the average adult spends 2.5 hours on social media and checks their phone 159 times per day. Here's a breakdown of how the average adult male uses his time: sleeping somewhere between 7 to 9 hours, working 8 hours a day, commuting 30 to 60 minutes, personal care 30 to 60 minutes, eating 1 to 2 hours, leisure and recreation 1 to 3 hours, personal time and chores 1 to 2 hours, families and relationships 1 to 2 hours, miscellaneous 1 to 3 hours. Now, when I talk about your recovery work, it should be 30 to 60 minutes maximum per day. When some of you say, I don't have time to get a walk in, I don't have time to do gratitude, I don't have time to do reflection journaling, I don't have time to do the inner work to get to the root cause of my addiction. But you're checking your phone 159 times a day, you're spending 2.5 hours on social media, you're spending 1 to 3 hours in leisure and recreation. It's not that you don't have time, it's that you're not prioritizing the time effectively. So if you truly want to break this addiction, if you truly want to transcend this behavior, this has to become the most important thing in your life right now. And by doing that for the next 30 to 60, 90 days, you will conquer this thing and you will begin to see all the other things that you've been wasting your time on. And you begin to operate from a place of peace, fulfillment, joy, happiness. 3 principles, guys. Tomorrow begins tonight. Prioritize and manage your time, both with digital calendars and daily planners. And your recovery work is self-care, and it must be looked at that way, and it must become first. Guys, I'll link the Phoenix Journal down there in the show notes. And if you're looking for a proven process, an outline, a framework to help you break the chains of this addiction, we recently put together a free training on 12 steps to create a porn-free life in just 12 weeks. I'm going to link it down there in the show notes below. But if you visit rebuildsrecovery.com/12 steps, you have access to this training right away. But the Rebuilt Man, Coach Frank Rich, we love you guys. Make sure to subscribe, share this, rate the show. We love you. We'll see you in the next one.